I want to welcome back Jess Palmieri, who stops by from time to time, every month or two, to talk about what's new with HubSpot, what's kind of rolling out, what's on the horizon, etc. And we've caught Jess at sort of an interesting time. We are post-inbound a little ways, so some of the buzz has died down. Some things have kind of heated back up. But I want to get first of all, I want to welcome you. Jess, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I am great. Also, and I'm really excited to have you here because it feels as though in the aftermath of inbound, there's so much being talked about. There's so much new that's either out or on the horizon or coming or in beta or whatever it is. So this is a good time for you and I to talk because we've gotten a little bit of a chance to digest everything that happened. And so I want to start by asking you that now that we are a couple months after inbound, how are you feeling about everything HubSpot, considering all the stuff that got announced at the event?
Sure. I think inbound this year was really about future casting and envisioning what's next for marketing in general. And spoiler alert, that really comes down to two letters, AI. So much of the event really got people fired up and excited about what's possible with these new tools that are working their ways into all these new nooks and crannies of our lives. So I wanted to see, what was going to stick after a few months. We all got really excited and pumped up, but like what really was going to have that staying power and actually be useful on day one to the folks that I talk to on a regular basis, our clients. So now that I've had a few weeks to let that, afterglow and excitement wear away and really get into the nitty gritty of what's been valuable to my customers, I'm just ready to talk about what's working, what's not working, what I'm still excited about, and what I think might take a little bit longer, but is still worth the wait.
It's a great reminder that AI presents incredible opportunities and facilities. At the same time, AI is also kind of a trendy marketing label that gets slapped on a lot of things that are not necessarily AI as we would think about them, or are just versions of tools that we've been using for a long time that have used AI depending on how you want to define it. So I love that that's where we're starting. So talk to me about what are your clients seeing? What are they using and what's helpful for them so far?
So I think the biggest takeaway that I have is, inbound really set the stage for what is to come. So there were some really exciting updates announced and everyone was scrambling after the fact to say, well, how do I start using this tool? How do I do that? And, shockingly, or not so shockingly, not everything was ready to roll in the way that we were expecting on day one. But some of the more straightforward tools that really borrow from the functionality that's already available in ChatGPT or Jasper or other tools that we're familiar with has been really well integrated into HubSpot. And my clients are finding really great use cases for how to use some of this technology today. So I'm a fan of any AI tool that I can put to use on day one, and it doesn't generate or create that frustrating experience of like, this is good, but not great. I wish it did this. It's so hard to force yourself to sit down and learn something new. I am a complete offender of that. I definitely want to adopt this new technology, but I also have only so many hours in my day. And even though AI promises to save me all this time and energy and effort, I still need to sit down and force myself to learn it. So when I can get that quick win, that really easy, low hanging fruit, that is such a great feeling of like, okay, I made myself try this thing and then I was able to accomplish a task. And now next time I won't be as intimidated to try it again.
So what are some of those plug and play solutions that you've had clients use that seem to work right out of the box?
So 2 words, John, content assistant. It's really leveraging a lot of, again, that functionality that you know and love. And it allows you to take language or written text on any landing page, social media post, email marketing endeavor, and really tweak and modify it, generate sample text based on some prompts, and then really tweak and play with it in a way so that you can come up with different variations. So if you are one of those folks that's trying to promote a webinar and there's only so many ways that you could say, hey, on November, 29th, we're going to be having all these folks come together to talk about AI and marketing, using AI to communicate the same message, but within a different context or framing, can be really helpful for those of us that suffer from writer's block.
That seems especially useful if you're doing A/B testing, where, like,
Yes.
let's try another version of this, but I'm having trouble making it sound different enough for this test to be useful and worthwhile. So let's have a machine rewrite it, reformat it, make it shorter, longer, more formal, less formal, whatever it is that you want to try.
Exactly. So those, I always like to think of it as a personal mental roadblock that I hit. I have a hard time saying the same thing twice in different ways with the end result. So A/B testing is a really good example. You need to ultimately communicate the same message. You want them to click on that link to go to your CTA for a webinar, or your CTA for a downloadable offer, or your CTA to book a call with you. But if you aren't really truly A/B testing two versions that would pass the blink test and show different variations, you're not really testing much. So it can be really, really hard and challenging to come up with new variations depending on how much A/B testing you want to do. And this is a really great way to make the robots do that work for you.
At Inbound, there were a lot of AI products, a lot of AI integrations announced. It feels like you are kind of picking and choosing and finding ones that, as you said, seem to work right out of the box, are able to contribute on day one. Are there tools that might not feel like they're there yet, but are on the horizon, are exciting for you and your clients?
So one of the tools that's like really close is the Sales Hub Content Assistant in Gmail, Outlook, and on mobile. So that is another great use case of how many times can you send the same follow-up email to a prospect that is ghosting you. It's a really great way to sort of generate some sort of message that has, again, a shared intent of, I'm trying to get you to recognize that I sent you this one-to-one video, or I sent you this proposal, and I want to make sure that you see the value that I'm trying to communicate in that proposal, and that you actually show up for our follow-up meeting next Tuesday. So if you give, this AI content assistant those prompts to say, these are the outcomes that I want to get to, this is the tone that I want to share, HubSpot will essentially generate a different alternative styles for those emails so that you can get them out the door faster. And this has been personally valuable for me because I am what folks at this organization like to call a seller doer. So I sell my HubSpot coaching and training services. If you book a call to talk with me ever about a HubSpot training opportunity, or just have some nerdy HubSpot questions, you're not going to go through an account executive or someone else at my organization. You're probably going to get on my calendar, and you're going to get to have that discussion. So the good news is that you, as the prospect, gets to talk to the exact person that you want to talk to at the first go. The downside is that all of those sales follow-up tasks that typically fall to a sales rep that has a dedicated job to do that follow-up are following on my shoulders. And it's not something that I do on a regular basis. It's not something that I typically carve out time for. And it's not something that I'm generally good at because I have to sort of switch gears, switch context, and mentally think about how am I going to not send this client this email that answers this question, but send a polite nudge or follow up to a sales prospect. It's just a different way of working. So if your brain doesn't do that switch as easily as you'd like, and if you do have to dabble in sales, having this sales content assistant to give you that first go, first pass at a sales follow-up email is really, really valuable for someone like me, because I can at least see, oh, this is a great template that's a little bit more customized, a little bit less generic than just the standard, templated emails that you might find in HubSpot already. You get to, prompt the outcomes that you're looking for, and then you customize and humanize, as we do with all AI content, so that it actually sounds like it's coming from Jess and not,
JustBot,
Jasper, or another ChatSpot type HubSpot AI. So.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense. A couple of things that I pick up on as you say that. One is, as we all know, typically the shorter the output that you want from AI, the better it's going to be. The longer you want something, the less likely it's going to have a clear narrative thread. It's going to be complete. And I think, like you said, sales is all about nuance. It's all about sort of establishing that relationship in a way that's advantageous for you and your business, but also advantageous for the prospect as well. And that's a hard balance to strike. And I think about you specifically because most of the work you do is with clients with whom you already have a really clear established relationship. And just like if you're texting someone you know really well, that's not as dependent on tone as the first text you're ever sending someone you've just met. That you want to get that perfectly right. And so it makes sense to have someone or to have a tool that can help you double check that, make that as effective as possible.
And sometimes it's just about speed. They like to say the phrase speed the lead, make sure that you get a response out. Sometimes it's just about putting that meeting link in the hands of the prospect so that they can quickly book, a follow-up appointment, more time with you. So you never want to let a lead languish or a deal, die on the deal's dashboard because you haven't followed up with them yet. So sometimes sending out something is better than nothing. And if you can use an AI-powered assistant to make sure that that something is actually clear and coherent, all the better. But I really focus on how quickly can I accomplish this task from a sales perspective in between all of the other work that I'm doing. And that sales assistant has been really valuable for me. The downside of that is that as of this recording, it's currently only available in those extensions that we discussed. I want to see it fully integrated into the HubSpot tool proper, and I think that that is coming, but it's just a matter of when. So that's one of those things that it's mostly there. It's mostly in the space where you want it to be, but I can't wait to see the proliferation of these tools going into all the various nooks and crannies of our workspaces.
Yeah, a great reminder that we're seeing tools that are rolling out that are almost there, that are good, not great, or are a little bit glitchy, or are still in beta, or whatever it is. And we have to collectively be patient. But Jess, you and I were talking just before we started recording about how difficult it is because we don't know, this was your phrase, we don't know where to put our chips. We don't know what tool to bet on when there are so many coming out. We know that over the next months and years, there's going to be a lot of intense competition. There's going to be a lot of acquisition. There's going to be a lot of ones that come out and fail and don't get an audience. They don't really catch on. And so it's hard to know what to bet on. My advice, and I'll let you share your advice too, Jess, is to keep experimenting, to let it be an assistant, to try to think creatively about ways that it can help you cut down on the tasks that robots can do. So redundant tasks that feel like, I use it for summaries of interviews. I wouldn't let it write for me. Maybe sometimes headlines or things like that. It'll help me get ideas, but summarizing an interview, or a meeting that's half an hour or an hour long, it's a huge time saver. So keep thinking creatively. And if a tool isn't there now, bookmark it, go back to it in a few months, and it might have improved greatly, or it might be gone.
Exactly. And that's the element that I was getting at with the where to place our bets in terms of how much time and effort we spend with these tools. The peace of mind that I get from working with a larger ecosystem like HubSpot. HubSpot's taking a big swing at AI. They have, dozens and dozens of engineers working on these AI tools that are fully integrated. They have a large user base to test them, to iterate on them, to get that data and feedback to make those tools better. HubSpot's not going to suddenly let their AI tools go away. So I would hate to take time, energy, and effort and to invest in an out-of-the-box tool from a small startup that might not be here in 6 months. But I can guarantee you that in 6 months, these tools that HubSpot is investing in will still be here, and they will be better than ever and better than they were before. So it's so valuable to know that a large organization that you're already using on a day-to-day basis, with their products and services, is taking this bet, because you know that if you spend the time learning how to integrate these HubSpot tools into your day-to-day workload, they're not going anywhere. They can continue to be a core part of your day-to-day processes.
It's a great reminder. We're talking about HubSpot specifically, but that's true of any of these major players of the Google suite, of Adobe Creative Cloud, of Canva, of these businesses, these platforms that we already use so much. They're not going anywhere. Some of those smaller startups might be.
Exactly. So if you're going to make an investment of where to put your time and energy, work in the spaces that you're already working. Work in HubSpot and allow their AI tools to be that starting point to give you that broad base of How can I use, content generation to my advantage for creating email assets or marketing assets in general? How can I use the same functionality for my sales emails or my customer service replies? All of this functionality is already built into the space you're already working in, and it's just a seamless transition if you're willing to give it a try. It's less of a risk and less of an investment of trying to learn an entirely another tool.
Totally agree. So talk to me about something, and we've kind of touched on this, but a little bit more so, something that you see on the HubSpot horizon, or that you're hoping to see update soon, or in this case, maybe you're hoping to see develop into something more of a final version soon.
Sure. I think that one of the most exciting updates that really ruffled feathers in the right ways in my organization was an AI-powered chatbot that can be added to websites or HubSpot knowledge bases. So this is a tool that can essentially scrape or scan or understand the content on your website and then surface answers to client or customer questions on your website via this chatbot, and it would use your content to answer those questions. So as a They Ask You Answer organization, this is entirely up our alley. It's very exciting technology, and as of today, you still have to get on a wait list to even get access to the tool. So it's still coming, and it's just, it's exciting, but it's also the thing that everyone wants to try and play with is the thing that no one can truly get access to as of today when we're recording. Hopefully by the time this releases, you can all sign up directly for that AI-powered chatbot. But if you can't, just know that there is a wait list. You can join it. You can receive updates about all of HubSpot's AI tools. And they're really being transparent with what's coming on their roadmap. You can see a public-facing version of their roadmap from those product managers to say, this is what we're planning to work on next. So they teased us with a lot of great updates at Inbound. I'm still excited by a lot of these tools. I can't wait to get my hands on them.
Yeah, love it. And we'll put a link to the waitlist where you can sign up in the article below so you can access it. So Jess, I want to switch gears a little bit. And I ask you this every time, but I think it's a really important question. What is something that you've been asked recently by a client that has an easier answer than the client might expect? Maybe what are people making more difficult than it needs to be in HubSpot?
This is going to, follow the theme and also be AI related. In one of my HubSpot group trainings, we had a kind of a use case science fair to say, what are the ways that you're using HubSpot AI to really improve your lives? And I love how simple this answer was, but it's also somewhat frustrating that, the AI robots are not that far along yet. One of my clients was saying that she was using AI to create meta descriptions. So you think like, that's great. I'm always struggling to find the right way to summarize this blog article or this landing page in just the right tone and length. And the AI powered tools would generate meta descriptions, but they wouldn't follow HubSpot's recommended, character count for how long a meta description should be. So it was a really simple answer of follow HubSpot's older technology that, suggested how long the meta description would be, not the new fancy AI technology that was generating it for you. But I love that the tools were generally in conflict with each other. And it was like a true battle royale of the robots right in front of us. So I just thought that was a funny anecdote to share that, always go with your gut and know what, some of the old practices still stay true. So don't just blindly follow the robots. If the robots are giving you, crap meta descriptions, go with your gut. But hopefully one day soon, the meta description AI will actually recognize proper length of meta descriptions.
That's a great example. I saw this post recently. It was about it was a conversation in ChatGPT where the person kept asking ChatGPT not to use any colons in its response.
Oh God, yes.
And the LLM kept saying, "So sorry, I'll make sure to not use colons in my future response." The next response, full of colons again. We all know that ChatGPT loves its colons. So
it's funny. The way that one of the product managers at HubSpot I was speaking to about this challenge, and I was saying, why is it that we can't? To me, it seems like that should be really easy for a model to understand. Like character count should be, baked in. And she's like, yeah, you would think so, but there are some things that ChatGPT and HubSpot AI struggle to respect the boundaries of. And I liked that phrase of like, you fail to respect the parameters that you're requesting. And it's, how human is that we try to put up these boundaries, these parameters. This is how I want our working relationship to be. And even the AI robots just struggle to accept boundaries sometimes. So I just like that phrasing.
And as you said before, we're asking AI to write content, write a meta description that other, when Google scrapes or crawls your website, it's going to read these. So we're asking computers to communicate in ways that other computers are going to appreciate. And there is a sort of strange meta category or quality to all of that. Okay, Jess, so wide open final question. Just what else is on your mind as a HubSpot trainer here as we get to the end of 2023, Q4 and 2023? What's on your mind?
I love this phrase that someone shared internally. It was from a recent AI conference that they all went to, of if you're struggling with a tool that you're trying to learn, AI is the only technology where the current version that you are struggling with is the worst version that you're ever going to experience. Because this AI functionality, this tool is always learning, always growing, much like a human. So if in the past I struggled to adopt, some version of a time tracking tool, and I didn't like the UI, I didn't like the experience, I would shelve that product and go out in the marketplace and find something else, because it would probably take far too long for the developers of that tool to make the changes and necessary updates that would pique my interest and make me want to give it a second try. But that's not the case with the AI. If something frustrates you about this tool, you can train the model to be less frustrating. So even the tools in HubSpot that I personally find frustrating right now, because they're, again, not perfect yet, a tactic that I've been taking and sharing with my clients is, set a date on the calendar with yourself for 2 months from now, 3 months from now, and say, hey, check back in on where AI forecasting stands with HubSpot and see if it's something worth digging back into, because it really will take a relatively short period of time for it to become usable and valuable for your organization, more so than any other development that HubSpot has, experienced in the past. Sometimes it's taken months, if not years, to get the exact right features, updates, and product updates that we've been looking for in the tool. But AI isn't like that. It's moving very quickly. So the tactic that I've been taking is if I like the promise of a tool that it has to offer, but it's not quite there yet, I've been sort of setting dates with future Jess to see if I can revisit this and find value in it in the future.
Love it. Great advice. Reminder to everyone listening, Jess Palmieri is the lead HubSpot trainer here at Impact. And if you have questions about how you can get more from the HubSpot platform, you can always reach out to her through the Impact website, on LinkedIn, etc. And if you have broader questions about how to leverage AI at your business to help you do more, to help you authentically connect with your customers, produce content that builds trust, we got your back as well. So reach out to us at impactplus.com. And Jess, always wonderful to talk with you about this fast changing world. Thanks for your time.